Hello everybody, this is Dark Times Gamer, back again with another video here. Today we are, yet again, building Starbase in Minecraft. Today's video, we will be actually constructing a ship. So I got some little layouts over here, um, just to kind of show what some pieces of it will look like. Now, none of these are actually fully complete. Yeah, I got some interesting building techniques for the flaps so they can kind of look half covered in tiles and half just the bare stainless steel. But if you're going to do like screenshots and stuff from far away, as you can see, it quickly, it kind of doesn't work from afar. So if you're taking screenshots and stuff with it, just kind of have the flap look like this, or use like this so it looks somewhat like correct from the other side. That's about it. As far as the flap technique, I'll show a little more off with that. Just know we're gonna have to do this more than likely. So yeah, this is gonna be if you really want to have that extra little bit of detail, and you're on like Bedrock or Console Edition. Yeah, I'm talking old Console Edition. Then yeah, you probably would want to just, skip that part. Plus, a lot of these blocks don't even exist in old Console Edition. But yeah, we'll start by constructing our actual first ever ship. So we'll start over here on this little work stand. Not sure how much space we really have. We have 3 blocks. Yeah, I'll just actually start over here, because we have a little more space for the flaps. Because flaps in this are actually lower flaps are 4 blocks this direction, like so, and then forward flaps are like this. But on version 1 ships, like the one we're gonna make, I'll show differences between version 1 and version 2. We'll build a version 2 ship on this little stacking stand there. But yeah, we'll start with just a version 1 ship because, let's be honest, most of us want to just forget about version 2's existence. So we'll start with just the first initial ring. So start by just placing your light gray concrete on all of these. So yeah, light gray concrete that goes on top of this, and if you are just clicking on this video for the starship, then yeah, you could just kind of go over here like so. Just anywhere in your world if you just want to have a starship hanging around. But yeah, if we're just in this Starbase thing, then yeah, obviously go to your middle work stand and start working like this. So yeah, every ring section is 2 blocks tall, and then it's just a ring that is 9 meters wide. This is pretty similar to the actual specs. I think the actual specs is 1.8 meters high, but Minecraft can't really get that precise, so generally I just kind of round it up to 2 meters tall. So as you can see, that's a single ring section. Now, this section in real life is actually 4 ring sections tall, but that's actually because I believe, and this is pretty outdated probably. They might just have these all be 1.8 meter rings at this point, and just have it be like 3. But if I remember correctly, these used to be like 1.4 meter rings, and they had 4 of them, which would be fairly similar in size to a set of 3 1.8 meter rings. So that's what I'm gonna do. It's just a correct height here, so just gonna have this be you just double it like so, then it's 4 blocks, and then total height of 6 blocks for this ring section. Or barrel section, not ring section. Sorry. And this is actually the aft dome as well. So right here at the top, remember, you gotta leave enough space for the engines to go here. And then, because an engine in this is 3 blocks, 3 meters, if you will. And then just have a little X right there. And then have in each of these middle blocks, I guess, place a block. and then go in between them with a diagonal. And once you got it like this, it should be pretty easy. You just want to have a little extra block placed around the top little guy, and then just place a block until it's filled in with a 3x3 square on the bottom layer, and then on the second layer it'll be a 5-meter wide ring, and then a 7-meter wide ring on the next little bit up, and then obviously it would go up to a 9-meter ring on the next one. So it'll look like this, but you're actually going to leave a little space in the middle one now, and place it with andesite walls. And then for the vac engines, just go right here, and then all the way at the bottom right there. So now you have your little spaces where the vac engines will get mounted. And then now we can start working on the actual LOX tank. So I'm going to speed this up because there's not a lot of hardware in here. So for the LOX tank, you can just kind of grab a ring section, and then leave it 6 ring sections tall. Don't quote me on that though. But for my little diagram I made, that's what it looks like. I know tank volumes and things like that are a little different between version 1 and version 2, but for our sake, we're just going to use the version 2 specs because I'm not going to make a whole change for an outdated version. So yeah, I'm just going to stack 5U if you're using World Edit. If not, then just remember that each ring section is 2, so you figure 6 times 2, it's 12, so it's 12 meters high. So now, we're going to work on the common dome, which the common dome, if I remember correctly, is 3 ring sections, or is it 4? It's 4 ring sections, yeah. And basically, these first 2 are pretty much just where the transfer tube and the common dome itself are kind of placed. And by transfer tube, I mean like the interface for the transfer tube that is kind of like smushed into the common dome. So these first 2 barrels are very important, and then, or first 2 rings. I get rings and barrels confused all the time for some reason. First 2 little rings here are for the dome, and then the next 2 up are just parts of the methane tank. And we're already pretty much through the tank section, because the methane tank is a lot simpler than this, because we don't have to worry about the thrust pucks and things like that, or the transfer tube. All you have to worry about is leave a hole right here, and then there's a reason I didn't put in this little 3x3. It's because you only have the corners of this little 3x3 space here. So you only put in the corners for the common dome. That's so you can leave space eventually for the transfer tube, which we're going to put in all of that stuff later. But for now, we're just going to work on the tanks. So now, construct those 2 ring sections that go above it, here. I mean, this really tells you just how big the LOX tank is compared to the methane tank, especially on these version 2/version 3 vehicles. You know, I mean, you consider that on the boosters, there's about 7 sections that are considered the LOX tank, and then there's only 3 sections that are considered the methane tank. Pretty big difference. You know, it's not just a half and half situation, but I mean, that's just kind of how it is. Alright, so now that we got that completed, now we can work on creating the top dome here. So, start off with this is a 3 meter or 3 ring section tall, so 6 meter tall barrel section. So you can start off just by making those rings. But start with just the first 2 here. So you see we're at the second one now. So once you've reached your second ring section, now you're going to start work on the actual dome itself. and then we can put the last ring section on. But first, it's good to just get the dome out, because this will help us with our bearings. So yeah, we got dome. There's no holes or anything in the dome. Just have it go up. It's just inverted compared to the other domes. So it kind of makes the methane tank look more circular, whereas the LOX tank is a weird shape that kind of, I don't know. It like actually has a pretty, like rectangular or cylindrical volume instead of having the weird like spherical-ish shape of the methane tank. It's more of like a rectangle when you're really trying to do the area, which actually makes the area of the methane tank a lot easier to calculate. But I'm no mathematician. But makes it a little bit easier. Sadly, it's a cylinder, which makes everything harder. Alright, so we got that last ring section added, and you should see that 3x3 section just barely peeks over. You might say, that's kind of weird. Why does it peek over? It's just something that it just kind of does. I'm not sure why. But now we're actually in the payload section, and the payload section is 3 ring sections. Once again, a lot of these are 3 ring sections for the barrels. The only real outlier is, I guess, just the common dome and technically the nose cone, because that only has 1 ring section that is the common or the nose cone itself. So yeah, we've got the first ring section. Now we get the second, and then we can start adding some detailing to the payload bay, because it's not just like this. There's the PEZ door in here as well. Alright, so as you can see, I just had to get a night vision potion real quick, because it's kind of dark over here. I would recommend getting a night vision potion as well. It looks kind of orange in here now. It's like the Starship just came through on re-entry. It's actually kind of weird, it looks like that. But yeah, just, yep, so we're at... Yep, so we got the payload bay done. So if you consider that this way is the like leeward side right here, which is the 5th block down. Punch out all blocks on this face except for these 2. On like the, I guess, farthest out a little bit. Now we'll put in the payload door, which basically just do this. Right? And then have these little bits go in between it. And then kind of make it look like it has some kind of movement to it on each of the little bits that kind of go inwards. Just put this little thing that goes up and down 1 block. So it kind of looks like it has some kind of motion to it. Like it can get bumped in and then moved up a little bit. Just kind of, creates that look of the door actually being able to open and it not just being welded shut. Yeah, and now we can work on the nose cone. But before we do that, I'll add some piping to the tank section. So first off, we're going to want to cut a hole right here, and that leads us down to there. And then we're going to put the, what is it called? It's the thing that failed on Flight 9 that caused all the issues. Some kind of filter or something. It just goes right there, and then there's a little pipe that leads it back in for, I think, autogenous pressurization, but I might be wrong. Don't quote me on that, but I believe it's for autogenous pressurization. But yeah, I'm probably wrong there. So now we can start designing the transfer tube as well. So for the transfer tube, you're going to want smooth stone, which is not that difficult of a block to deal with. And instead of just doing that, you're actually going to move that last little block down a little bit. Now we can design the actual transfer tube itself, which is just going to go straight down from that block, first transfer tube. so. And then for the methane transfer tubes, this is where it gets interesting. We're actually just going to go straight up with these as well. But remember, this is a block 1, so, yeah, I'm just going to, I guess, feed these in. Some weird press puck thing, but, you know, on the actual version 2 ships, it just goes straight up. And then, I guess you could, if you really want to be that detailed, you could have it kind of taper in slowly, like this. But I don't know why you'd want to go through all that. Looks weird as well. You could just kind of have it do like this as well, where it just kind of feeds into the main transfer tube. It's whatever floats your boat, I guess. Alright, so now we can move on to the nose cone, which will finish off this little ship. So, for nose cone, you're going to start with 6 normal blocks of these rings. So, yeah, pretty simple. So if you're on this, you just select one block, not a full ring, just one block, and then say stack 5U. And that gives you a total of 6. Now we can start tapering in with nose cones. Start by making it go from 9 meters wide to 7 meters wide. And then this will last for 3 blocks. You can have this go 3 blocks up. Alright, now you can go to 2 blocks. Like so. Now you can go to this one, which will just be 1 block. And then a little thing like that, and a little thing like that. So now we can work on all the fancy internals, and then we can work on heat shield flaps and things like that. Alright, so first off, the hard part, which is the header tank. So, start off by placing 1 block directly underneath that little 2 block hole thing that's right there. Now what you're going to do is just fill in this little bit here, except for the block below that block that we just placed. Now what you're going to want to do is place a little thing, and it will basically just be the upside down version of what that was over there. And then, like so. And then you can see 2 blocks of volume there, and then 2 blocks of volume there, and then a little middle block, like so. And that separates the 2 fuels, and now we can start working on the pipe itself, which goes like this. Yeah. And meets the side, and then just goes down. And then, yeah, that's where this whole thing comes into play. And then just connect this to the little transfer tube, I guess, thrust puck, whatever that whole assembly is. And then remember to connect this whole fuel line up like so. And now you've got that big pipe completed. Now in here, there isn't really a lot to add. So now you just go back. Yeah, I think we're good. Alright, so now go back outside. Next thing we're going to add is the quick disconnect plate, which is probably like the literal easiest part of this video. Go to the bottom, to the part that's leeward, same side as the payload bay door. So just go to the ground block here, zero, the zero block, you know, the ground. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And on that 6 block, place it, gray concrete. And then if you look on the inside, you see that that kind of just feeds into that little bit there. But alright, so we're here on the inside now. So you figure that's a quick disconnect. So add a little pipe there. And then just have it feed into this transfer tube to fuel up that tank. And then you can just have it with the other little bit, have it go around, and then down to the bottom of the tank to fill up the tank. I see lots of weird looking little pipes down here. It's okay. That's just how it is. A very, you know, very accurate, or like lots of little pipes and things, and pretty much done. Now I'll just add the autogenous pressurization lines, which go on the outside. So what you're going to want to grab is iron bars, like so. And you can just have it go 2 blocks above where the quick disconnect was on either side. And then just go all the way up to just about 2 blocks below payload door. It's right there. So these are the autogenous pressurization lines. Alright, so now that we've got the autogenous pressurization lines added, now we're going to add the FTS box, which you want to go just about halfway. So we're at, right here is the block that is right about at the common dome, the block above the common dome. Place this little bit there, and then you're going to want to go to this block, which is 2 blocks below the common dome. Or consider this just 2 blocks below where that one is, but on the other side, place your andesite there. So now we have our FTS charges placed, and what that does is it destructs the common dome, which makes the fuels mix, which makes the whole rocket explode, right? It's pretty much all the science there is to that. When the methane and liquid oxygen mix, and there's somewhat of an ignition source, which there would be, because, you know, there's a detonation right there. It would cause it to explode. There's also the engines, just in case, you know. Get these engines here. Plus, for there to be FTS involved, there probably would already be a pretty fiery situation involved. So yeah, we got that. And now we can start working on the flaps. So on the side here, yeah, I know, it's already like absolutely covered in this andesite wall, but just you're with me here. Hear me out here. Just got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 right there. And then go ahead and grab your light gray concrete and place one right there. And then 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the rest of it is going to be 4 as well. So I'll just add it like so, and then yeah, we got that little aft flap there, and then you just want to do the same thing on this side. So remember, it's 12, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then yeah, first little bit, it's like third, fourth, and then right here, and just have the rest of it be like so. And now we're good there. And now we'll add the flap. Forward flap, which is going to go right here. So just remember that we're going to replace these blocks here. Alright, start off with a little 4x4, or 4x3 right there. And then, well, actually, it's going to be a 4x4 right there. And then cut off that little block there. And then you're going to want to go here, then there. And then, yeah, these top two, just replace those. Didn't mean that. And then right here, remember, 1, 3, 4. And then start off 4 wide, and then 3 of those, and then a 3, and a 3, and then a 2, 1, 1. And then get your flaps as well. Looking pretty good now. So next, grab up your black stone wall. And you're going to want to go right here. The second block down from this, when it starts tapering in on the nose cone. Alright, so right here, just add 2 little blocks like so. And then on this block, place it with black concrete. Now you get your little Starlink terminals added. And the next thing you're going to do is add the heat shields. Best part. By best, I mean the most annoying. So go ahead on the bottom blocks of 2 forward flaps. And then remember, this side is the flaps. So just place item frames on this entire side of the flap. Do this for both flaps, and then, yeah, basically every side except just the leeward facing side. You want to add these little guys. And I'll show you why in a second here. We'll just start with the gaff flaps because they're the easiest of all the flaps. And don't worry, the main body is just going to use simple black concrete, so you don't need to worry about this item frame placement on the main body. It's just for the flaps, so it's easier to make the flaps look good. Alright, so once you got that, next you're going to want to grab up a map, just a basic map, and then go over to a random place very far away. And this is, you want world edit for this. You'll just do just a / fill black _ concrete, and then 100, and then you're going to want to make the map in the center of the ball, and then you're going to want to go to whatever edge still has grass on it of the ball, and then you're going to do the same command again, which is / fill concrete black _ concrete 100, and then once you got that, it should look kind of like this, but in any of the directions. And you just want your map to look like this, where it's just all black, because it's all black concrete. And then you can use this to actually get almost like pixel art, but you just want it to just be black. Now you can try to make the hexagonal pattern. I've tried that before. It's a little hard, so I just use this. It looks good from afar. Kind of looks like little tiles. Plus, it's Minecraft. It kind of fits the Minecraft aesthetic, right? It's like these little square tiles instead of hexagonal tiles. Alright, so now we have these flaps nearly complete. I'll just remember, repeat the same step on the aft flaps as well. Alright, so now we have the flap part of the heat shield completed. So now what we're going to do is basically just go ahead and grab up black concrete, and you're just going to replace this whole side with black concrete. So what I'll do here is just kind of select the whole thing and then / set black concrete. And you just gotta do that for all these little parts. Nice and simple. If you have world edit. If you don't, then it's kind of painstaking. You just kind of have to go bottom to top. But still shouldn't take too long. This is one of the simpler parts of making it. Just, you know, kind of might take a while to replace all of these blocks with black concrete. But yeah, over here. Alright, and then, this is a big part of what was wrong with my last one, was I made the heat shield patterns a little weird. So make sure that the heat shield patterns are correct this time around. Because, I mean, the last video I basically just made, like, what the exterior looked like, and it was, like, a very, I don't know, small model. You know, it wasn't very good. Alright, so now that I got this, you know, that here, and then right up here at the tippity top of the nose cone, you want the top up to, like, right here to be black concrete. And then just go along the sides like so. And then you want to go bottom, like 3 blocks. and then it sneaks around like that, and then all the way down here at the bottom. Start with 3 like that, 3 there, and then 2 extra from there. And yep, that's pretty much it. You've gotten your vehicle completed. Now, for the last little step is going to be the engines. Luckily, we got this nice little engine installation stand right here. So start and go opposite directions of where the vac engines will be. Right here, and then right here. And then go 2 down with your andesite walls. And then place a gray concrete. Very, like, I guess, low poly, you would call it, engines. But you could also add a little more detail using iron bars and go like this. But as you can see, that takes up a lot of space and it kind of looks weird. So if you want, you can just kind of do that. You know, like so. Pointing that way specifically, because that won't make any issues with the engines, really. Actually, no, it will. Just have them point inwards, I guess. Or outwards. Yeah. Like so, it just kind of adds a little bit of detail to your engines. Alright, now the vacuum engines, which are a little weird. Start by just making sure that each of these little vacuum engine mounts goes down to the 3x3 block space right there. Then get a gray concrete and place it in right there. And then grab up your smooth stone and then just kind of place it around, and it looks a lot like a vacuum engine. It's got a very tight space. I mean, this is 1-to-1 scale, so what are you going to expect? You know, Minecraft doesn't really scale that well. How big the blocks are compared to how big real-world objects are, you know, it doesn't scale that well. But it's 1-to-1 scale, okay? And, I mean, from the bottom, it looks kind of weird, but consider it's the correct engine pattern, right? So now we got the engines installed, and with that, I'm gonna, I guess, drink up milk so this looks accurate. Not weird. No, it's whatever. I got 15 seconds left of this. So yeah, this is the first Starship. And if you want to make a tanker variant of it, basically what you do, and oh boy, this is kind of dark. If you want to add light to it, you can just kind of like, this is, I think, world edit only as well, but you can go like this, and then just go straight up. In like the middle of the high bay, if you want to like add light, more lighting to the vehicles, go like that, and then you /set light. Sounds kind of weird, but there's actually a block called light, and as you can see, it lights up the thing. Looks a little weird at the bottom, but other than that, see, it just kind of looks like it kind of lit it up, you know? Just make sure it's not on a block that would actually get like moved with the vehicle if you were to move the vehicle around, because, you know, if you want to be like really up to date with your Starbase, you know, where you're constantly moving the vehicles around to the test stands and they move to the test stands, if you really want to use it as like a weird, like, I guess, like, tracker, kind of like a map almost of what progress is going on at Starbase, you can do that if you want. It takes a lot of time to do that, but yeah, if you really want to, you could do that. I generally just kind of like update it every month or so, my personal Starbase world, which is pretty inaccurate, but I just like update the vehicles and stuff and leave the workstations and things and areas where there's construction the same until the building gets fully constructed. But you know, if you really want to be detailed here, you could turn this whole area where the Gigabay will go into a construction site, but I'm not going to do that because, you know, it's outdated, but it's prettier to look at than construction site, you know, like right off the road. People aren't going to quite know how to get into all these buildings, you know. Whereas if you leave it how it was before, there's an obvious entrance into all the buildings. You know. So yeah, just start with that, and if you really want to be accurate, once again, you could have rotated the flaps in, because that's usually how they store them. But yeah, other than that, if you want to make a tank variant, get rid of the flaps and heat shields. Everything else stays the exact same. Maybe remove the payload bay if you want. And then if you want to make a version 2 ship, very simple. Just get rid of that block, and then replace that with that. And boom, you got a version 2 ship looking kind of from the front. And then if you want to change the flaps, here's what you do. You basically just shave off that, and it kind of gets moved up a little bit, but not really. Generally, you just kind of want to shave off that, and then probably good. Just make it so it's 3 blocks wide, and should be good. For a version 2 ship, kind of showed off what a version 2 ship flap would look like. Oh yeah, it also gets moved forward 1 block into the leeward direction. You see what it kind of looks like. It's 3x3, and then 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, kind of a staircase. Goes up like so until you eventually reach the 3x3 width there. So if you really want to make it version 2 ship, that's what it looks like. And pretty soon, we'll actually start working here on the Mega Bay next episode. I'll just put some ships in all these stands, just kind of as a reference in the next episode. But yeah, next episode we'll start working on the Giga Bay. We'll just do its interior or exterior, and the interior is very, very similar to the high bay, except the rooms are a little more extensive, so I will have to do, once again, an interior video on that. Expect that sort of, I don't know, like, into January more, you know, after holiday season. Just very busy lately, you know. That's the holiday season, you know, always pretty busy. Yeah, expect the next video after the Mega Bay exterior to be posted sometime January, like early January. And yeah, that's about it, I'd say, for this video. I hope you found this video very informative. Make sure to like, subscribe to the channel so you can keep up with all this, and if you have anything to share below, you know, little critiques or anything like that, please let me know. I want to make this as accurate as possible, so if any of you know, like, the advanced, you know, information about exactly how many ring sections each of these, you know, barrel sections is, please leave that information, and I'll make like an updated little extra details video on the starships. But yeah, for those of you that have just joined the channel, if you like this kind of content, make sure to subscribe. I just got extra content as well. Generally, just a wide variety of video games on here. Minecraft isn't all I do. Make sure to check out. You know, I got Hearts of Iron 4. I got. I've only made 1 video so far on the channel, but possibly more. Ravenfield. I'm currently working on Hearts of Iron 4 mod, so if you're interested in that adventure, yeah, I'll post some updates and stuff about that mod here on the channel as well. Yeah, that's about it. I guess I also play some KSP, but that isn't my biggest thing, really. And yeah, generally just like, subscribe, comment, anything you have to say. And this is Target Times Gamer, signing off. Goodbye.